You are living life at the mercy of your own mind. Let us be honest, shall we? You are here because the internal system is broken. You are here because you have become a passenger in your own body, a spectator watching yourself overreact, spiral, and shut down. You are here because you are tired of being the exposed nerve, the frayed wire, the one who carries the weight of every potential disaster before it ever happens. You are exhausted by the performance of pretending you are fine when your heart is a hammer against your ribs. The performance of smiling through a meeting when your mind is screaming, replaying a minor mistake from 3 days ago. The performance of nodding, listening, and engaging, all while the internal monologue of doubt, fear, and criticism plays on an endless, deafening loop. You have lost the ability to be still. You have forgotten what it feels like to simply exist without the hum of anxiety vibrating in your bones. The slightest turbulence, a passive-aggressive email, a sudden change in plans, a moment of criticism sends you into a defensive crouch. The larger storms, a job loss, a difficult relationship, a personal failure, do not just challenge you, they define you, they consume you. And the worst part of it all, the quiet, dreadful secret you carry? You believe this is you. You have mistaken the static for the signal. You have looked at this chaos, this reactivity, this hair-trigger panic, and you have accepted it as a permanent feature of your personality. I am just an anxious person. I have a short fuse. I overthink things. It's just who I am. This is the most profound lie you have ever been told, and it is the one you tell yourself every single day. This audiobook is a declaration of war against that lie. It is a manual for a fundamental revolution. The purpose in these next 10 chapters is not to give you coping mechanisms. We are not here to build a slightly more comfortable cage. We are not interested in managing your stress as if it were some unruly employee you must placate. We are here to do something far more radical. We are here to train your brain. We are here to rewire the machine. We are here to build, from the ground up, a mind that is an instrument of your will, not a prison of your fears. This is not a gift you are born with. It is a skill you must forge. Let us first define our terms, because the world has sold you a weak and watery definition of calm. The calm we will build here is not detachment. It is not apathy. It is not the cold, passionate state of someone who simply doesn't care. That is not peace. It is a void. That is not strength. It is numbness. True calm is the ultimate expression of power. It is the stillness of a deep ocean which remains unmoved in its depths, even as a hurricane rages on its surface. It is the eye of the storm. It is the clarity of a master artisan whose hand does not shake, whose focus does not break, even when the pressure is absolute. This calm is an active state. It is a state of profound engagement with reality. It is the ability to see the chaos, to feel the pressure, to acknowledge the fear, and to choose your response with deliberate, unshakable intention. It is the presence of mind to access your logic, your creativity, and your compassion, especially when you need them most. A calm mind is not a mind that feels nothing. It is a mind that feels everything, but is enslaved by nothing. It is the prerequisite for all meaningful action. You cannot lead, you cannot create, you cannot love, you cannot build, you cannot think clearly when you are in a state of constant internal reaction. This audiobook is the forge for that state. And what of the storm? The storm is everything. It is the external and the internal. It is the sudden, catastrophic event, the phone call in the middle of the night, the project that implodes, the betrayal that cuts you to the core. But more often, the storm is the mundane. It is the slow, grinding erosion of daily life. It is the traffic jam when you are already late. It is the colleague who steals your idea. It is the children screaming when you just need 1 minute of silence. It is the looming deadline. It is the empty bank account. It is the person who cuts you in line. And most relentless of all, the storm is internal. It is the voice of your own doubt, the ghost of your past failures, the shadow of your future anxieties. The storm is the endless what if, the crushing if only, and the tyrannical should. The storm is not your enemy. The storm is simply a fact. It is the weather of existence. Trying to live a life free of storms is not a strategy. It is a fantasy. It is the root of your suffering. This belief that if you could just control the world, you could finally be at peace. We must abandon this illusion. You will never control the weather. You will never control the economy. You will never, ever control the actions and opinions of other people. This is not a cause for despair. It is the ultimate liberation. Because in giving up the fantasy of controlling the world, you finally gain the ability to do the one thing that has always mattered: control yourself. This is the journey we are about to take. It is a journey of 3 parts. First, we will become the architect. We will enter the machine and understand its blueprints. We will explore the ancient biological wiring of panic, the amygdala, the cortisol, the adrenaline. You will learn why you feel hijacked, why your body betrays your rational mind, and you will see it not as a personal failure, but as a predictable process. This is the part where we turn on the lights. This is awareness. Second, we will become the engineer. We will forge the tools. We will move from awareness to action. This is the training ground. You will learn to command your physical body, to use your breath not as a passive wish, but as a lever to control your nervous system. You will learn to forge perspective, to reframe the stories you tell yourself, to dismantle the cognitive traps that keep you locked in fear. You will learn to create the silent second, that critical, life-altering gap between a stimulus and your response. This is the part where we build. This is change. And third, we will become the master. We will apply these tools to the world. We will learn to navigate the human storm, the conflicts, the criticism, the difficult people who seek to pull you into their own chaos. We will build an inner citadel, a fortress of resilience and self-trust that does not just survive the storms, but learns to use them as a source of strength. This is not about practice anymore. This is about identity. This is mastery. This will require work. There are no magic words in this audiobook. There is no single insight that will instantly solve your life. Transformation is not a passive event. It is an active, daily, and deliberate choice. But I will make you a promise. If you engage with this material, if you test these ideas, if you practice these techniques, if you commit to the process, you will change. Not all at once, but gradually, and then all at once. You will begin to notice small victories. The comment that would have ruined your day, you will observe with a detached interest. The surge of anger, you will feel it rise and you will let it go without acting on it. The wave of panic before a big presentation, you will acknowledge it, breathe into it, and perform with clarity. And one day, you will find yourself in the middle of a genuine crisis, the kind of storm that in the past would have shattered you. And you will be surprised to find yourself okay. You will be surprised to find that your mind is clear, your body is calm, your hands are steady. You will be the still point in the turning world. This is not a fantasy. This is a destination. This is the new baseline we are building. The old you, the reactive, anxious, exhausted you, is a product of old wiring and bad habits. It is time to build something new. The storm is coming. It always is. But for the first time in your life, you will be ready. The training starts now. Chapter 1. The Illusion of Control. Why do you suffer? It is not because the world is chaotic. It is because you believe with every fiber of your being that it is your job to fix it. You are a firefighter trying to put out the ocean. You are an architect arguing with a hurricane. You are exhausted, you are frustrated, and you are failing, not because you are weak, but because the job itself is an absurdity. You have been assigned an impossible task by a culture that worships control, and you have accepted it without question. This is the central illusion that governs your life. The belief that your peace, your success, and your happiness are directly proportional to your ability to manage the external world. Your job, your finances, the opinions of your friends, the mood of your partner, the traffic on the freeway, the health of your body. You believe you must hold all of these pieces in perfect alignment. You are the plate spinner, running frantically from one wobble to the next, convinced that the moment you stop, the moment one plate drops, you are a failure. And so you live in a constant state of calculation and vigilance. Your mind is a command center, running threat assessments on a loop. If this meeting goes poorly, my reputation is at risk. If I get stuck in traffic, the entire day is ruined. If this person rejects me, I am unlovable. If I cannot solve this problem, my value is zero. This is not a life. It is a siege. And you are the only one guarding the walls. This is what we will call the storm. The storm is any variable outside of your direct, absolute, and immediate power. It is the sudden bill. It is the unthinking criticism from a coworker. It is the betrayal of someone you trust. It is the bad news on the television. It is the simple, gnawing uncertainty of tomorrow. The storm is, in short, most of life. And your strategy, the one you have been taught since birth, is to try to control the storm. You try to script every conversation before it happens. You try to anticipate every possible failure. You try to manage the perceptions of everyone you meet, presenting a curated, calculated version of yourself in the desperate hope that they will approve or at least leave you alone. How is that working for you? It is a recipe for anxiety, because the deeper you go into this illusion, the more fragile you become. When your sense of self is tied to external validation, you are a slave to the whims of others. When your peace is dependent on a perfect, predictable day, you are a victim of simple chance. You have built a house of cards on a fault line, and you spend every second of your life terrified of the slightest tremor. This is the great, unspoken exhaustion of the modern world. It is the crushing weight of trying to be the CEO, director, and chief quality inspector of a universe that is fundamentally wild, chaotic, and indifferent to your plans. Now, I want you to consider a new idea, a radical idea, one that will at first feel like defeat, but is in fact the only possible victory. You must let it all go. Not the action, not the effort, not the ambition. You must let go of the illusion that you control the outcome. The shift is profound, and it is singular. We must move our focus from the external to the internal. We must redefine control itself. True control is not the ability to bend the world to your will. That is fantasy. True control is the ability to master your own mind, your own perceptions, and your own actions, regardless of what the world does. This is the only freedom you will ever have. It is the only power that is real. Let us draw a line in the sand. On one side, there is the circle of concern. This is the vast, swirling vortex of the storm. It contains the economy, it contains the past, it contains the future, it contains the thoughts, feelings, and actions of other people. It contains your health in the long run. It contains whether or not you get the job. You have zero direct control in this circle. You can influence things, perhaps. You can send an email, you can make a good impression, but you cannot control the final result. To believe you can is the source of all your suffering. You are pouring your life's energy, your focus, your time, your emotional resources into a place where you have no power. Now, on the other side of the line, there is the circle of control. This circle is small, it is precise, it is intimate, and it is absolute. What is inside this circle? Your will, your perspective, your effort, your response. That is it. That is the entire kingdom. You cannot control the storm, but you can control the captain of the ship. You cannot control the person insulting you, but you can control how you interpret that insult. You cannot control the fact that you were passed over for a promotion, but you can control your next action. Whether you spiral into victimhood, or you analyze the gap, build new skills, and prepare for the next opportunity. The person who lives in the circle of concern is reactive. Their entire emotional state is a puppet, and the world holds the strings. A good day means the world was kind. A bad day means the world was cruel. They are a leaf in the wind. The person who lives in the circle of control is proactive. They have made a conscious, deliberate choice to become the source of their own state. The world does not get to decide their mood. The world does not get to define their worth. The world is simply the environment in which they operate. This is not a passive act. This is not giving up. Giving up is what you have been doing, giving up your own power to external circumstances. This is the ultimate reclamation of power. By focusing your energy only on what is inside your circle of control, you stop wasting it. Your energy is finite. Your focus is a precious, limited resource, and you have been hemorrhaging it trying to manage the unmanageable. When you reclaim that energy, you become astoundingly powerful. Imagine a difficult conversation. The old you, the one obsessed with external control, tries to manage the other person. You try to choose their words for them. You try to force them to see your point of view. You get angry when they do not react the way you planned. You are trying to control them, and it is a battle you will always lose. The new you, the one who understands the illusion, focuses only on the circle of control. You cannot control what they say, but you can control your commitment to listen. You cannot control their anger, but you can control your own calm. You cannot control their interpretation, but you can control the clarity and integrity of your own words. You become unshakable because your anchor is not in them agreeing with you. Your anchor is in you behaving with honor. Your success is not defined by their validation. It is defined by your own composure. This is the shift from a child's view of the world to an adult's. A child demands that the world conform to its wishes. An adult accepts the world as it is and then decides, with intention, how to act within it. So, how do we begin? It starts with a ruthless moment-to-moment audit. The next time you feel that spike of anxiety, that flash of anger, that pit of despair, you must stop. You must ask yourself one question. Is the source of this feeling inside my circle of control or outside of it? My boss is unreasonable. Outside. My reaction to my boss is making me sick. Inside. The traffic is terrible and I am going to be late. Outside. I will use this time to breathe and mentally prepare for the meeting. And I will send one clear message that I am delayed. That is all I can do. Inside. What if I fail? Outside. The outcome is not yours to command. Will I put in the focused, deliberate effort required to succeed? Inside. That is all you have. This is the practice. It is not glamorous. It is not a single lightning bolt moment of enlightenment. It is the hard, repetitive, daily work of pulling your mind back over and over from the sprawling, chaotic fantasy of the circle of concern and anchoring it in the small, solid, powerful reality of the circle of control. This is the foundation. Before you can tame your body, before you can master your thoughts, you must first accept the terms of reality. You do not control the world. You never have, and you never will. The world is a storm. The waves will crash. The winds will howl. They are not your concern. Your concern is the ship. Your concern is the rudder. Your concern is the hand that holds the wheel. Your job is not to stop the rain. Your job is to stand in it, clear-eyed and steady, and choose. To choose your response. To choose your perspective. To choose your next deliberate action. This is the end of the illusion. This is the beginning of your power. Chapter 2. The Architecture of Panic. Have you ever watched yourself make a bad decision in real time? Have you ever felt that hot, tidal wave of anger, said something you cannot take back, and 5 minutes later thought to yourself, who was that? Have you ever frozen in a moment of opportunity, held back by a fear that felt as real and as solid as a wall, only to curse your own inaction hours later? This is not a failure of your character. It is not a lack of willpower. It is not a sign that you are broken, weak, or undisciplined. What you are experiencing is a mechanical failure, not a moral one. You are experiencing a system, a brilliant and ancient piece of biological machinery, operating exactly as it was designed to. The problem is, it was designed for a world that no longer exists. To train your brain, you must first understand the machine. You must become its engineer. You cannot fix the engine until you know how it is built. Right now, you are fighting a ghost. You are at war with a biological process you do not understand, and that is a war you will lose every single time. So let us, for a moment, become architects. Let us look at the blueprint of your own mind. You do not have one brain. You have, in effect, two. There is the new brain, and there is the old brain. Your new brain, the part you think of as you, is the prefrontal cortex. This is the marvel of human evolution. It sits right behind your forehead. It is your inner logician, your CEO, your long-term planner, and your rational voice. It is the part of you that is reading these words, that understands complex ideas, that sets goals, that feels empathy, and that can imagine the future. It is the adult in the room. It is calm, it is creative, and it is, by evolutionary standards, brand new. But deep in the center of your skull, buried beneath the sophisticated layers of logic, is the old brain, the primal brain. This is the part you share with every reptile, every mammal, every creature that has ever fought to survive. And in the center of this old brain is a small almond-shaped cluster of neurons called the amygdala. This is the part we need to talk about. The prefrontal cortex may be the CEO, but the amygdala is the chief of security. The amygdala's job is not to be smart. It is not to be nuanced or thoughtful or compassionate. Its job is to be fast. It has one singular overriding purpose: to keep you alive. It is your body's primal alarm system, your panic button. For millions of years, the amygdala's job was simple. It scanned the environment for one question: does that look like something that will eat me? A shadow in the grass, a snap of a twig, a pair of eyes in the darkness. In that world, the world you were forged in, hesitation was death. Deliberation was a fatal luxury. If the amygdala detected a potential threat, it did not have time to check with the CEO. It did not send a polite memo to the prefrontal cortex saying, "Excuse me, I seem to have detected a large saber-toothed predator. What is our 5-year plan for this?" No, it hijacked the entire system. In less than a tenth of a second, before your rational brain even knew there was a problem, the amygdala would slam its hand on the panic button, initiating a full-body, non-negotiable, survival-level response. We call it fight, flight, or freeze. And to make that response happen, it flooded your body with a potent chemical storm, cortisol and adrenaline. Instantly, your body is transformed into a survival machine. Your heart pounds, not with anxiety, but to supercharge your limbs with oxygenated blood, preparing you to run or to fight. Your breathing becomes short and shallow to maximize oxygen intake right now. Your pupils dilate. Your senses sharpen into a state of hypervigilance. You develop tunnel vision, focusing only on the threat. Blood is pulled away from your digestive system. This is no time to be digesting lunch. It is pulled away from the immune system. It is pulled away from every non-essential service. And most critically of all, blood flow is diverted away from your prefrontal cortex. I want you to understand this. This is the entire key. When the panic button is hit, your body, in its ancient wisdom, decides that rational thought is a non-essential service. Your logic shuts down. Your ability to plan, to reason, to think clearly, it goes offline. Why? Because in the ancient world, when the tiger is at the mouth of the cave, you do not reason with it. You do not negotiate with it. You do not make a pros and cons list about it. You survive. You run, you fight, or you freeze, becoming so still that the predator's eye passes over you. This system is brilliant. It is perfect. It is the reason you are here. It is the reason your ancestors survived long enough to create you. There is just one catastrophic problem. The amygdala is illiterate. It cannot read. It cannot tell time. And it absolutely cannot tell the difference between a predator in the grass and a passive-aggressive email from your boss. It cannot tell the difference between a genuine, life-threatening attack and the social threat of being criticized in a meeting. It cannot tell the difference between a rival tribe on the horizon and the financial threat of an unexpected bill. To this ancient, simple, binary system, a threat is a threat. A perceived threat is a real threat. And so, the storm begins. You are sitting at your desk. You are safe. You are warm. You are not going to die. But you open an email with an urgent all-caps subject line. And the amygdala, your faithful, primitive sentinel, screams, "Tiger!" The panic button is slammed. The chemical storm begins. Your heart starts to pound. Your palms get sweaty. Your stomach drops. And your prefrontal cortex, the smart, logical, rational CEO, is suddenly kicked offline. This is the amygdala hijack. This is why you cannot think clearly. This is why you stare at the screen frozen, unable to write a simple reply. This is why you fire back a defensive, angry response that you will regret 10 minutes from now. This is why you cannot just calm down. Your body is in a state of physiological lockdown. You are trying to use logic to stop a chemical flood. You are, literally, not thinking with your full brain. Let's pause and let this sink in, because this one insight is the key to your freedom. Your anxiety is not a weakness. It is a weapon, a survival tool. It is just being aimed at the wrong target. Your panic is not a flaw in your character. It is a feature of your biology. Your tendency to freeze or to flee or to fight is not a personal failure. It is an algorithm, a piece of ancient, brilliant code running on modern, inappropriate hardware. You must stop being ashamed of this. You must stop judging yourself for a biological process that is as natural and as automatic as a reflex. You would not get angry at your own knee for jerking when a doctor taps it. You must stop getting angry at your own brain for doing the job it has been perfecting for 2 million years. When you feel that familiar rush of panic, that hot spike of anger, that cold wave of fear, your first thought can no longer be, "Oh no, what's wrong with me?" Your first thought must become, "Ah, the alarm. How interesting." This is the moment of separation. This is the beginning of the training. We are not here to destroy the amygdala. We are not here to fight our biology. You cannot win a war against yourself. The amygdala is not your enemy. It is your oldest, most loyal, and most primitive protector. It means well, but it is, quite frankly, stupid. It is fast, but it is not smart. And in this audiobook, we are going to teach the smart brain, your prefrontal cortex, how to become the master of this process. We are not going to rip out the alarm system. You need that alarm. We are simply going to stop letting it drive the car. We are going to learn how to hear the alarm, observe it, and then disarm it. We are going to learn how to feel that hijack begin, and through deliberate, conscious practice, we are going to learn how to bring the CEO back online. We are going to use our body to calm our brain, and our brain to calm our body. You are not broken. You are simply untrained. You are a magnificent, high-performance machine running on an outdated operating system. It is time for an update. The work begins with understanding the mechanism. Now we must understand what it is we are actually fighting for. We must define what calm truly is, because it is not what you think. Chapter 3. The Anchor and the Void. Before we can build, we must have a blueprint for the destination. What is it exactly that we are building? What is this calm that we seek? Because if you do not know the destination, you will accept any port in a storm. And the world offers you many false harbors, many weak imitations of the real thing. And most people settle for them. They settle for numbness. They mistake emotional detachment for strength. They confuse the void for peace. They build a fortress of cynicism, apathy, and isolation, and they call it calm. This is the person who proudly declares, "I just don't care about anything." This is the person who has put their emotions in a locked box and thrown away the key, fearing that if they feel anything, they will feel everything, and it will destroy them. This is not calm. It is a self-imposed exile. It is a life lived in grayscale. It is a slow death of the spirit. A mind that is numb is not a mind that is strong. It is a mind that has surrendered. Others settle for avoidance. They mistake a curated, protected, and sterile environment for inner peace. They become masters of controlling their small world. They avoid difficult conversations. They avoid new challenges. They avoid risk. They avoid life. Their calm is a fragile, hollow thing entirely dependent on the absence of a storm. This is not calm. It is a prison of comfort. It is the peace of a butterfly trapped in a jar. It exists only because it is never tested. The moment the glass breaks, the moment a real, unpredictable storm arrives, their entire system shatters. These are the illusions, numbness and avoidance. They are the cheap substitutes. We are not here to build a more comfortable prison. We are here to claim true freedom. The calm we are forging in this audiobook is something else entirely. It is not passive. It is active. It is not weak. It is the most formidable power you will ever possess. We will call this true state, the anchor. What is the anchor? The anchor is not the absence of the storm. The anchor is the part of you that holds fast because of the storm. Imagine a lighthouse planted in bedrock on a jagged coast. It does not try to stop the waves. It does not negotiate with the wind. It does not fear the darkness. It simply is. It stands in the center of the absolute violent chaos of the sea, and its light does not flicker. It does not shrink. It does not hide. It holds its ground and it shines. That is the anchor. This is an active state of being. It is the product of deliberate, conscious work. The anchor is clarity. It is the ability to see a situation for what it is, not what your fear tells you it is. It is the capacity to separate the objective fact from the subjective, emotional story you are weaving around it. It is the clear, sharp, unclouded mind that can assess, plan, and execute, especially when the pressure is high. The anchor is presence. It is the skill of pulling your mind back from the ghosts of the past and the phantoms of the future, and planting it firmly in the only place where you have power, this second, right now. A mind that is anchored is not ruminating on yesterday's mistakes. It is not catastrophizing about tomorrow's what-ifs. It is here, it is focused, it is engaged with the task at hand. The anchor is choice. In Chapter 2, we discussed the hijack, the panic, the biological reaction that robs you of your higher self. The anchor is the part of you that transcends the hijack. It is the presence of mind that allows you to feel the surge of adrenaline, to observe the spike of anger, to acknowledge the pull of fear, and to choose your response. It is the defiant human ability to stand in the fire of that stimulus and decide, I am not this feeling. I am the observer of this feeling, and I will choose what happens next. This is not a cold or passionless state. You will still feel. You will feel profoundly. You will feel the sting of criticism, the heat of anger, the chill of fear. The anchor does not erase your emotions. It contains them. It gives you a bedrock to stand on while you experience them. It stops you from becoming the emotion. It stops you from being drowned by it. A person who is anchored is the most powerful person in any room. Not because they are the loudest, not because they are the most aggressive, but because they are the most solid. They are unshakable. They cannot be easily manipulated because their validation comes from within. They cannot be easily provoked because their peace is not up for debate. They are a source of their own stability. They are the lighthouse. They are the calm in the chaos. And in a world of frantic, reactive people, this centered presence is a quiet superpower. It is charismatic. It is trustworthy. It is, in the truest sense of the word, authoritative. This is the state we are building. This is the goal. This is the anchor. Now we must look at the alternative. We must, for a moment, look with unflinching honesty at the place where most people, and perhaps you, are living right now. We will call this the void. If the anchor is the lighthouse, the void is the rudderless boat. It is the state of chronic, passive, and total reactivity. It is a life lived without intention, a mind without a captain. A person in the void is not a person at all. They are a reaction. They are a collection of triggers, a bundle of unexamined impulses and borrowed opinions. Their emotional state is determined from moment to moment by the last person they spoke to, the last email they read, the last headline that flashed across their screen. This is the life of chaos. In the void, there is you. There is only the storm. When someone criticizes you, you become defensive. When a project fails, you become your failure. When you feel anger, you become anger, a vessel for a destructive force you cannot control. When you feel fear, you become fear, small, paralyzed, and weak. Your identity is a composite sketch drawn by the world around you. You have no center, no core, no internal compass. You are, quite simply, lost. And what is the price of living in the void? It is not just a bad day. The cost is your life. It is the cost of your relationships. You cannot truly connect with another human being from a place of reactivity. You cannot listen. You cannot love. You cannot be trusted because you are not stable. You are a source of chaos. You are the one your loved ones have to manage. You are the one they have to walk on eggshells around. The cost is your career. In the void, you cannot think clearly. You cannot innovate. You cannot lead. You can only react. You are the employee who panics at a deadline, the manager who lashes out under pressure, the entrepreneur who freezes at the first sign of failure. You will always be passed over for the person who is anchored, for the one who is calm, steady, and reliable when it matters. The cost is your health. This is not a metaphor. Living in the void is a state of chronic biological stress. It is the amygdala hijack, not as a rare event, but as a permanent address. It is a constant, slow-drip release of cortisol and adrenaline. It is the reason you cannot sleep. It is the source of the tension in your shoulders, the acid in your stomach. You are, literally, burning the machine out by running it in a state of perpetual, low-grade emergency. And the highest cost of all? Your potential. The person you could have been, the creative, focused, disciplined, and peaceful version of you, is waiting. But you cannot access that person from the void. That version of you only exists on the other side of the anchor. That potential is drowned out every single day by the screaming noise of your own reactive mind. The anchor and the void. The lighthouse and the rudderless boat. A life of choice and a life of chaos. This is not a small preference like choosing a brand of coffee. This is the fundamental choice of your existence. Will you be the rock, or will you be the wave? Will you be the captain, or will you be the storm? Will you be the one who acts or the one who is acted upon? Up until this moment, you may have been living in the void without even knowing it. You may have mistaken it for normal. You may have thought this constant humming anxiety was just the price of admission for a busy modern life. It is not. It is a tragedy, and it is a choice. But it is a choice you are no longer making by default. By being here, by listening to these words, you have already pulled back the curtain. You have seen the architecture of panic, and now you see the destination. You see the anchor. You have a why. You understand the high, devastating cost of staying in the void. And you have a clear, compelling, and powerful vision of the alternative. The foundation is laid. We understand the illusion of control. We understand the biological machine of panic. And now we have defined our true north, the anchor. We are no longer lost. We have a map. Now it is time to learn how to walk the path. It is time to build. Chapter 4. The Forge of Perspective. The events of your life do not break you. Let me say that again. The events do not break you. The failed project, the rejection, the unexpected bill, the critical comment, these things have no inherent power to destroy your peace. What breaks you is the story. What breaks you is the meaning you attach to the event. It is the catastrophic, fearful, and self-lacerating interpretation you spin in the seconds, hours, and days that follow. The storm is just weather, a simple objective fact. The poison is the narrative. You are a meaning-making machine. It is the primary function of your evolved human mind. You do not just experience the world. You interpret it, instantly and automatically. You cannot stop this process any more than you can stop your heart from beating. You are, at all times, sitting in the center of your own life, narrating it. The problem is, as we learned in Chapter 2, when the amygdala hijacks the system, the wrong narrator grabs the microphone. When you are in a state of stress, fear, or panic, your rational, calm, and wise prefrontal cortex is offline. The part of you that tells stories becomes a terrified, primitive child. And this child tells terrible stories. This narrator is an expert in catastrophe. It is a master of exaggeration. It sees failure as final, criticism as a life sentence, and challenges as certain doom. A minor mistake becomes, I am a total failure. A moment of feedback becomes, everyone hates me and I'm going to be fired. A simple no from someone becomes, I am worthless and will be alone forever. This is the internal script that is running your life. This is the voice that is robbing you of your peace. And you have been listening to it without question, as if it were the absolute objective truth. You have mistaken the voice of your fear for the voice of reality. Our first act of training is to end this tyranny. We are not here to stop the stories. We cannot. We are here to challenge them, to disarm them, to rewrite them. We are here to fire that panicked, unreliable narrator and to consciously, deliberately, and intentionally reclaim the author's chair. This is the forge. A forge is not a comfortable place. It is a place of heat, pressure, and impact. It is where you take a raw, useless piece of metal, your raw, panicked, automatic thought, and you hammer it, heat it, and bend it into something new, something strong, something useful. This is the work of forging perspective. We will learn 3 primary techniques in this forge, 3 hammers to shape your mind. The first hammer is the fact and the fiction. Your panicked mind is a master storyteller, blending 1 ounce of truth with a gallon of toxic fiction. Your job is to become a ruthless editor, to separate the two. A fact is objective. It is what a video camera recording the event would have captured. It is indisputable. A fiction is the subjective judgment, the emotional story, the catastrophic meaning you have added to the fact. Let us practice. Fact. Your boss said, "This report has 3 major errors. Please correct them." That is all that happened. That is the data. Fiction. My boss thinks I'm an idiot. I'm not cut out for this job. I'm a fraud. He's furious with me. I've ruined my reputation. I'm going to lose my job. See the difference? The fact is neutral. The fiction is what causes the suffering. The fiction is what triggers the amygdala hijack. The practice is simple, but it is not easy. You must, in the moment you feel that surge of anxiety or anger, stop. And you must perform a fact versus fiction audit. Ask yourself, what actually happened? What are the observable, provable facts? And then, what is the story I am telling myself about these facts? You will be stunned to find that 99% of your pain is coming from the story. When you see the story for what it is, a story, not the truth, it begins to lose its power. You are no longer the victim of the narrative. You are the observer of it. You can look at that catastrophic fiction and say, this is a product of my fear. This is my old wiring. It is not real. And then you return to the fact. The fact is, there are 3 errors. My task is to correct them. You have just taken back control. You have just anchored yourself to reality, not to the chaos of your fear. You have moved from a state of emotional panic to a state of practical action. The second hammer is the lens of time. Your fear narrator has no sense of proportion. It treats every problem, every setback, every challenge as a permanent, life-ending catastrophe. It lives in a perpetual, desperate now. The lens of time is your tool for breaking this illusion. When you are in the grip of a problem, when the storm is raging and you feel yourself dissolving, you must zoom out. You will ask yourself 3 questions. Will this matter in 5 years? Will this matter in 5 months? Will this matter in 5 weeks? The answer, for the vast majority of the things that ruin your day, will be a resounding no. That passive-aggressive email, the bad traffic, the awkward comment in the meeting, the spilled coffee on your shirt? In 5 weeks, they will be gone. You will likely not even remember them. And yet, you are allowing them to destroy your peace in this, the only moment you have. This is not about dismissing real problems. There are, of course, genuine crises that will matter in 5 years. A serious health diagnosis, a true financial collapse, the loss of a deep relationship. But even here, the lens of time is your ally. Because what it actually does is force your brain to switch from its emotional short-term panic mode to its logical, long-term planning mode. It forces the prefrontal cortex back online. Instead of, this is the end of everything, your mind is forced to consider the future. This is terrible now, but what will this look like in 5 years? What actions must I take today to make that 5-year future better? You see, the question itself forces a shift in perspective. It pulls you out of the emotional mud of the present and places you on a high vantage point where you can see the timeline of your life. It shrinks the monster, contextualizes the pain, and transforms you from the panicked victim into the long-term strategist. The third and most powerful hammer is the threat to challenge conversion. This is where we speak directly to our biology. As we discussed, your amygdala hijacks you when it perceives a threat. A threat is something that you believe could harm you, diminish you, or cause you to lose something. When your brain frames a situation as a threat, it triggers the fight, flight, or freeze response. It is a defensive, survival-oriented, and negative framework. This is a disaster. This is going to destroy me. But you have the power to change this frame. You can, with a single, conscious act of reinterpretation, change the entire biological and psychological response. You can reframe the situation as a challenge. What is a challenge? A challenge is not a threat. A challenge is an opportunity. It is a test, it is a puzzle. It is a chance to gain something: strength, experience, knowledge, resilience. When your brain frames a situation as a challenge, it does not trigger the amygdala. It engages the prefrontal cortex. It releases a different chemical cocktail, not just cortisol, but a focused, energizing shot of adrenaline that is perceived as excitement and focus. Think of a public speaking engagement. Threat: Everyone is going to judge me. I'm going to forget my words. I will be humiliated. This is a threat to my reputation. Result? Hijack. Pounding heart. Dry mouth. Blank mind. Freeze. Now let's reframe it. Challenge. This is an opportunity to share my ideas. This is a test of my ability to communicate. This pressure is a tool to sharpen my focus. This is a challenge that I will meet. Result? Engagement, energy, focus, clarity, flow. This is not semantics. This is biological priming. The event is identical. The story you tell yourself about it changes everything. This is the work. This is the forge. It is the moment-to-moment practice of catching your own mind in the act of self-sabotage. It is the active, deliberate work of being the editor, the time traveler, and the strategist of your own mind. You are not your thoughts. Let me repeat that. You are not your thoughts. You are the architect of your thoughts. You are the observer of your mind. Those automatic, negative, catastrophic stories are the product of an old, untrained, and fearful system. They are suggestions from your biology. They are not orders. From this day forward, you stop accepting them as truth. You stop being the passive victim of your own internal narrative. You start being the author. You will pick up the hammer. You will step up to the forge, and you will begin the hard, liberating, and life-changing work of building a mind that serves you. Chapter 5. Taming the Animal Body. You cannot think your way out of a chemical storm. Let us be clear. The cognitive tools we forged in the last chapter, the reframing, the audits, the perspective shifts, are essential. They are the high-level strategies of a calm mind. But they are strategies, and strategies are useless when the battlefield is on fire. There will be moments when you are hijacked, when the alarm is pulled, when the chemical flood of cortisol and adrenaline is already coursing through your veins. In that moment, your body is in a state of pure primal survival. And in that state, your sophisticated, rational prefrontal cortex is offline. You cannot reason with a body that believes it is about to die. You cannot tell a nervous system that is screaming danger to please see this as a challenge. Trying to use a complex mental model in a moment of pure physical panic is like trying to read a philosophy textbook during an earthquake. It is the wrong tool at the wrong time. The mind and body are a feedback loop. When the body is in a state of panic, it shrieks at the brain, "Things are not safe, panic!" And the brain, hearing this, panics more, creating more catastrophic stories, which in turn makes the body panic even more. This is the spiral. This is the vortex that sucks you under. To break this loop, you cannot start with the mind. The mind is compromised. You must start with the machine. You must seize control of the physical instrument. The body is not just the source of the panic. It is also the antidote. Your biology has, built into its very framework, a set-off switch. You have a brake for the gas pedal. The gas pedal is the sympathetic nervous system. This is your fight or flight response. It is the system that activates you for survival. It is the flood of adrenaline. It is the pounding heart. It is the shallow, rapid breathing. It is the state of high alert. The brake is the parasympathetic nervous system. This is your rest and digest response. It is the system that calms you, that repairs you, that brings you back to a state of equilibrium. It lowers your heart rate. It deepens your breathing. It tells the brain, the threat has passed. We are safe. When you are in a storm, your foot is jammed on the gas pedal. You cannot think your foot off the pedal. You must physically engage the brake. How? The good news is that you have direct, conscious, and immediate access to this system. You have a lever, a command and control interface that allows you to manually override the panic and tell your body to engage the brake. This lever is your breath. Now let us pause. The world has told you to just take a deep breath so many times that the advice has become a meaningless cliché. It is what we tell children, and it is what we ignore ourselves. This is because no one ever explained why. No one ever gave you the manual. This is not a suggestion. It is a biological command. Your breathing is the one unique system in your body that is both automatic and controllable. You breathe all day without thinking about it, but you can, at any moment, seize command of it. When you seize command of your breath, you are seizing command of your nervous system. Here is how it works. The primary nerve of the parasympathetic nervous system is the vagus nerve. This nerve is a superhighway running from your brainstem all the way down through your chest and into your abdomen. It is the grand central station of calm, and it is listening right now to how you breathe. When you are in a panic, your breathing becomes shallow and rapid from the top of your chest. This pattern tells the vagus nerve, the gas pedal is on. We are in danger. Keep the system on high alert. To engage the brake, you must manually reverse this pattern. You must breathe slowly and you must breathe deeply from your diaphragm. The diaphragm is the large muscle at the base of your lungs. Breathing from this muscle, rather than your shallow chest, physically stimulates the vagus nerve. When you do this, you are sending a direct physiological signal to your brain that says, "You can stand down. The threat is gone. I am in control." The brain, receiving this physical signal, must obey. It has no choice. It begins to shut down the flood of stress hormones. Your heart rate will slow. Your muscles will relax. The prefrontal cortex will begin to come back online. This is the first and most powerful tool for taming the animal body. We will call it command breathing. This is not a casual, limp, in and out breath. This is a deliberate, structured, and physical act. Here is the protocol. You will practice it now, and you will deploy it in the storm. Exhale first. You cannot take a deep breath if your lungs are full of stale, carbon dioxide-filled air. When you feel the panic rise, your first move is to empty. Exhale all the air from your lungs, powerfully, as if you are pushing all the tension out of your body. Inhale slowly. Now inhale through your nose for a slow count of 4. Do not pull the air into your chest. Pull it down into your belly. Your stomach should expand. This is the diaphragm at work. Hold. Hold that breath at the top for a count of 4. This is not a passive pause. This is an active, controlled moment of stillness. Exhale slowly. This is the most important step. Exhale through your mouth as if you are blowing through a thin straw for a count of 8. Make the exhale twice as long as the inhale. This prolonged exhale is the primary trigger for the vagus nerve. It is the emergency brake itself. Inhale for 4. Hold for 4. Exhale for 8. Repeat this 3 times. Just 3. In the space of less than 1 minute, you will have biochemically altered your body. You will have manually, physically stopped the panic spiral. You will have created a space. You will have brought your thinking brain back from the war. This is your first-line defense. This is the foundation. But there are other tools. What happens when the mind is so chaotic, so loud, that you cannot even focus enough to breathe? We need a pattern interrupt. We need to ground ourselves. This is the second tool, sensory grounding. When you are in a panic, your mind is not in the room. It is in the future, projecting catastrophe. Or it is in the past, ruminating on failure. It is everywhere but the present. Grounding is the act of forcing your mind, against its will, back into the physical reality of the here and now. You cannot be anxious about the future if your brain is fully occupied with the present. This is a simple, tactile drill. You will use your 5 senses to anchor yourself to the moment. In the middle of the storm, you will stop, and you will silently name to yourself 5 things you can see. Do not just look, observe. The crack in the ceiling, the color of the carpet, the way the light hits the desk, the texture of the wood grain. 4 things you can feel. The fabric of your shirt against your skin, the floor beneath your feet, the solidity of the chair supporting you, the cool, smooth surface of your phone. 2 things you can hear. Do not just listen. Separate the sounds. The hum of the computer, the distant traffic, The sound of your own, now slowing, breath. 2 things you can smell. The faint scent of coffee. The soap on your hands. If you cannot smell 2 things, name 2 scents you like. The act of remembering a smell engages a different part of the brain. 1 thing you can taste. The mint from your toothpaste. A sip of water. The metallic taste of anxiety itself. Just name it. This is not a woo-woo exercise. This is a cognitive ambush. You are forcing your brain to stop its runaway narrative and focus on a data entry task. It is impossible to simultaneously obsess over what if while you are actively scanning your environment for the texture of the carpet. You have created a silent second, as we will discuss later. You have interrupted the feedback loop. You have, once again, proven to your animal body that you are here, in this room, and not, in fact, being chased by a predator. Finally, the 3rd tool, strategic tension. When your body is flooded with adrenaline, it is primed for action. It wants to fight or run. This is why you feel restless, jittery, and why your muscles are coiled tight, your shoulders up by your ears. This is a profound physical energy that has nowhere to go. If you just sit there, that energy turns toxic. It becomes the physical sensation of anxiety. You must give that energy a job. You must obey the body's command, but you must do it on your terms. This is the practice of progressive muscle relaxation used as a weapon. You are not going to try to relax. You are going to do the opposite. You are going to increase the tension strategically and then release it. In your chair right now or in the moment of panic, start with your hands. Clench them into tight, powerful fists. Squeeze them as hard as you can for 5 seconds. Focus all your energy, all that chaotic adrenaline, into your fists. Now, release them. Instantly. Let your hands go completely limp. And feel the difference. Feel the rush of warmth, the tingling, the profound sensation of release. That is not an idea. That is a physical event. Move up. Tense your shoulders. Shrug them up to your ears hard. Hold them there. Squeeze. And release. Let them drop completely. Feel the weight of that release. Do this with your feet. Curl your toes. Tense your calves. Squeeze. Release. What have you done? You have given the fight or flight energy a path. You have completed the loop. You have told your body, I heard the call to action, we used the energy, and now the action is over. The body, having completed its task, can finally stand down. These are your physical tools: command breathing, sensory grounding, strategic tension. These are not tricks. They are not mental games. They are physiological interventions. They are the manual overrides for your animal body. You must practice them. You cannot wait for the storm. You must drill these techniques when you are calm. Practice the breathing in your car. Practice the grounding while you are in line for coffee. This is how you build the muscle memory, so that when the real storm hits, when the real panic rises, you do not have to think. You will not rise to the occasion. You will fall to the level of your training. You will have tamed the machine. You will have proven once and for all that you are in command, not the alarm. And you will have created the solid, stable physical platform from which all true mental calm can finally be built. Understood? We are now at the halfway point of the training. The physical and cognitive foundations are set. Now we learn to use them to master time itself. Chapter 6: The Silent Second. In the previous chapter, we learned how to tame the animal body. We learned how to use our breath, our senses, and our muscles to physically stop the panic spiral. We learned how to hit the brake. Those tools are your first line of defense. They are the tactical interventions that pull you back from the brink. They are designed to do one critical thing: to buy you time. They are designed to create what we will now explore. This is, perhaps, the single most important chapter in this entire audiobook, because we are about to discuss the birthplace of all human power. We are talking about the gap, the pause, the small, infinitesimal, and yet infinitely powerful space that exists between stimulus and response, between the insult and your anger, between the bad news and your despair, between the fear and your retreat, between the opportunity and your action. In a life lived in the void, that space does not exist. It has collapsed. For the reactive person, the stimulus is the response. The two are fused together, an automatic, unthinking, and instantaneous reflex. The email is the anger. The criticism is the defensiveness. The uncertainty is the anxiety. This is the life of an automaton, a biological robot. You are a puppet, and your triggers are the strings. You are a bundle of reflexes, not a conscious human being. You are, in short, predictable. And therefore, you are controllable. The world knows exactly how to make you angry, how to make you afraid, and how to make you obey. This is the central tragedy of a life lived without awareness. This chapter is about how to reclaim that space. We will call it the silent second. The silent second is not a long time. It is a breath. It is a heartbeat. It is the moment of stillness you must carve out of the chaos. But in that one tiny second, everything exists. In that second is your freedom. In that second is your choice. In that second is your logic, your wisdom, your compassion, your long-term goals, and your true self. In that second, you stop being a reaction and you start being a creator. All of your training so far, the cognitive reframing, the physiological grounding, has been for the sole purpose of creating this silent second, of prying open that gap just wide enough for your consciousness to slip inside. Now we must learn what to do with it. How do you find it, and how do you use it? The first and most powerful tool for creating this space is an active, tactical form of observation. The world calls it mindfulness, but that word has become soft, associated with passive sitting and gentle thoughts. We will reclaim it as the weapon it is. We will call this the director's view. In your life, right now, you are the actor. You are on the stage, lost in the drama. When the scene calls for anger, you become anger. When the scene calls for fear, you become fear. You are so lost in the role that you have forgotten you are an actor. You believe the play is real. The director's view is the practice of stepping off the stage in the middle of the scene. It is the act of observing yourself, your thoughts, and your emotions as if you were the director, sitting in the audience, watching the play unfold. In the middle of the storm, when that familiar hot surge of anger begins to rise in your chest, your training kicks in. Instead of being the anger, you observe it. You, the director, say, "Ah, interesting. Look at that. The character is now feeling anger. I can feel the heart rate increasing. I can feel the jaw clenching. I can feel the impulse to say something sharp. Fascinating." What have you just done? You have performed an act of profound, almost magical separation. You have just discovered that you are not the feeling. You are the one watching the feeling. If you are the one watching it, who exactly are you? You are the consciousness behind it all. You are the anchor, the still point. In that moment of pure observation, you are no longer the slave of the emotion, you are the master of it. You have not suppressed it, you have not denied it. You have done something far more powerful. You have contained it. You are feeling the anger, but you are not acting from it. You have created the silent second. From this director's view, you now have options. The actor, lost in the play, has no options. He can only follow the script of his reflexes. But the director? The director can do anything. The director can say, "You know what? This scene is not working. The character feeling anger is fine, but the action of lashing out is destructive and stupid. Let's try a different response. Let's try a response of curiosity, or silence, or strategic retreat." This is the practice. It is the moment-to-moment, day-by-day training of self-observation. You feel the pull of your phone, the impulse to check it. Observe. There is the impulse. You feel the sting of defensiveness. Observe. There is the feeling of being attacked. You feel the wave of laziness, the urge to procrastinate. Observe. There is the desire to seek comfort. Every time you do this, you are weakening the chains of your automatic self. You are strengthening the muscle of your director. You are literally prying open the silent second. The second tool used within this second is emotional labeling. This is a direct neurological intervention. It is a hack. When you are in the director's view, you have separated from the emotion. Now you must name it. Not in a complex narrative way, but in a simple, precise, one-word label way. Anger, anxiety, shame, fear, impatience. Neuroscience has shown unequivocally that the simple, cognitive act of naming a powerful emotion dampens the amygdala. It reduces the fire of the primal alarm. Why? Because to name something, you must use your prefrontal cortex. The act of labeling is an act of logic. It is an act of language. In that instant, you are physically drawing blood flow away from the old brain, the amygdala, and diverting it to the new brain, the prefrontal cortex. You are, in real time, forcing the CEO back into the driver's seat. When you are drowning in a feeling, you are helpless. The moment you name the feeling, you are no longer in it. You are managing it. You have put a handle on it. This is a profound two-step process you can use in any storm. Step 1. Observe, the director's view. I am experiencing a powerful sensation. Step 2. Label, emotional labeling. The name of this sensation is anger. You have just created a silent second. You have stabilized your mind. You have gone from being a leaf in the wind to being the scientist studying the wind. And from this place of stable observation, you can finally make a conscious choice. What does that choice look like? It is the choice to align your response with your values, not your impulses. It is the choice to access the other tools you have forged. In that silent second, which you have created by observing and labeling, you can now ask, is this a fact or a fiction? Chapter 4. What is the challenge here, not the threat? Chapter 4. Do I need to engage my command breathing? Chapter 5. What is my goal? What do I actually want to happen next? Without the silent second, you have access to none of this. You cannot use your higher-level tools when you are moving at the speed of reflex. The silent second is the gateway to all of your wisdom. It is the prerequisite for all intelligent action. This is the war you are fighting. It is not a war against other people. It is not a war against the world. It is a war against automaticity. It is the war to reclaim the 2 or 3 seconds of time that your biology and your habits are trying to steal from you. How do you practice? You practice everywhere. You practice in the small moments, so you are ready for the large ones. You practice when you are waiting in a line, feeling that flicker of impatience. Observe, label, impatience, and then choose to use that moment to stand tall, to breathe, to be present. You practice when someone cuts you off in traffic. You feel the automatic surge. Observe, anger, label, and then you exhale it, Chapter 5, and you remember your circle of control, Chapter 1. That driver is not your concern. Your composure is. You practice when you are in a dull meeting, feeling the pull of distraction. Observe, boredom, label, and then choose to lean in, to listen, to find one valuable idea. These are the training grounds, the low-stakes environments. You are building a new habit. You are, quite literally, rewiring your brain. You are carving a new neural pathway. The old path is stimulus, instant reaction. It is a deep, worn, muddy trench. The new path is stimulus, pause, observe, label, conscious choice, deliberate response. At first, this new path will feel artificial. It will require immense effort. You will fail, often. You will find yourself halfway through an old, angry tirade before you even remember to observe it. This is not a failure. This is part of the training. The fact that you realized it is a victory. The director showed up, even if he was late. Next time, he'll be a little faster. One day, you will be in a true storm. The pressure will be immense. The stakes will be high. And someone will say something designed to provoke you, to hurt you, to make you react. And you will feel the surge. And you will observe it. You will label it. You will take one deliberate breath. And you will find, to your own quiet astonishment, that you are perfectly, wonderfully still. You will be in the eye of the hurricane, in that silent second, and you will see the chaos spinning around you, and you will feel your own solid, anchored feet on the ground. And in that moment, you will be free. You will look at the storm, you will access your wisdom, and you will choose what happens next. That is not just calm, that is power. Chapter 7. The War Within. Rewriting your internal script. Who is your most relentless critic? Who is the one person who knows every one of your failures, every one of your insecurities, and every one of your secret, deeply held fears? It is not your boss. It is not your partner. It is not your rivals. It is, and always has been, you. Or, more accurately, it is the voice inside your head that you have, for your entire life, mistaken for you. We have spent 6 chapters preparing for this war. We have learned to see the illusion of control. We have mapped the architecture of panic. We have defined the anchor. We have forged perspective, tamed the body, and created the silent second. All of this was training. All of it was preparation for this, the central battle. Because you can stand in a storm, you can breathe, you can pause. But if in that silent second you have created, the only voice you hear is one of contempt, fear, and self-abuse, you will still fail. The most violent storm you will ever face is not external. It is the one that rages between your own ears. It is the constant, grinding, erosive power of your own internal monologue. This is the voice of the saboteur. It is the ghost in the machine. It is the shadowy advisor who sits at your ear and whispers poison. It is the voice that tells you, you are not ready. It is the voice that says, they all know you're a fraud. It is the voice that, in the face of a new challenge, whispers, remember the last time you tried that? Remember how you failed? Just quit. It's safer. It is the voice that, in the wake of a victory, immediately says, it was a fluke. Don't get comfortable. This voice is a master of disguise. Its greatest trick, its most profound and devastating lie, is that it has convinced you that it is you. It speaks in the first person. It says, I am an idiot, or I am worthless. And you believe it because you are the one who is thinking it. But this is not a war against yourself. This is a war of liberation. It is the act of liberating you, your conscious, rational, anchored self, from it, that automatic, fearful, critical program that has been running unchecked in the background of your mind since you were a child. This program is not your enemy. It is a piece of outdated software. It was, perhaps, installed in your youth as a misguided form of protection. Don't get too confident, or you'll be hurt. Don't stand out, or you'll be attacked. It was a primitive survival mechanism designed to keep you small, safe, and part of the tribe. But you are not a child anymore. And that software, which was once designed to protect you, is now imprisoning you. It is time to deinstall the old program and write a new one. This is not about positive thinking. Positive thinking is weak. It is a thin, brittle layer of I am great painted over a deep structural rot of I am worthless. It shatters at the first sign of pressure. This is not what we are doing. We are not painting over the rot. We are excavating it. We are performing a full structural renovation. We are, quite literally, going to rewire the script of your mind. This is done through a precise three-step process. 1. Identify. 2. Disarm. 3. Replace. Step 1. Identify. The separation. You cannot fight an enemy you cannot see. And right now, this voice is invisible because it is perfectly camouflaged as you. The first step is to create separation. It is to hear this voice for the first time as an external entity. This takes the director's view from Chapter 6 to a new level. We are not just observing a feeling, we are isolating a narrator. The practice is this. You must become a spy in your own mind. Your job for the next week is not to change the voice. It is not to argue with it. It is simply to notice it. You will carry an imaginary notebook, and every time you hear it, you will simply make a mark. You make a mistake. The voice says, "You are so stupid." There it is, noted. You think about a goal. The voice says, "You'll never achieve that." There it is again, interesting. You receive a compliment. The voice says, "They're just being nice." Noted. As you do this, a strange and powerful thing will happen. You will begin to see a pattern. You will see that the voice is, in fact, incredibly limited. It is repetitive. It has about 5 or 6 core lines that it uses on you over and over. You're not good enough. You're not safe. You don't belong. You're going to fail. By simply identifying it, by tagging it as the voice, the saboteur, or the script, you have already performed an act of revolution. You have proven that I and the voice are two different things. There is the voice, which is speaking, and there is I, the one who is listening. This separation is the beginning of all freedom. Step 2. Disarm. The deconstruction. Now that you can see the saboteur, you can begin to disarm it. A beginner's mistake is to fight it. It is to argue with it. The voice says, "You're a failure," and you say, "No, I'm not. I'm great." This is a losing battle. Why? Because you are arguing with an illusion. You are giving it your energy. You are treating it as a real, valid opponent. You are, in effect, engaging in its frame. We will not fight it. We will deconstruct it. We will dissolve it with logic and light. We will put this voice on trial. Your mind becomes a courtroom. The voice is the prosecutor, making its case. You are a failure. Your job is not to be the defendant yelling, "I'm innocent." Your job is to be the judge, calm, impartial, anchored. And the judge asks questions. The next time the voice attacks, you will create the silent second. You will identify the voice, and you will calmly and curiously interrogate it. Use these questions as your weapons. Is this 100% objectively true? The voice says, "You always fail at this." The judge asks, "Is that 100% true? Have I, in the entire history of my life, always failed? Or have I had some successes? Have I learned things? Is always a fact, or is it a fiction?" Chapter 4. You have just exposed its primary weapon, exaggeration. The voice shrivels under the light of nuance. Whose voice is this, really? This is a powerful one. As you listen, you may realize the voice doesn't even sound like you. That voice telling you you're not smart, does it sound perhaps like a critical teacher from your past? That voice telling you you're not safe, does it sound like an anxious parent? You have been carrying these ghosts with you, letting them rent space in your head for free. By identifying their origin, you expose them as legacy programs. They are not your thoughts. They are echoes, and an echo has no substance. Does this thought serve me? This is the ultimate pragmatic question. The voice says, "You should be terrified of this presentation." The judge asks, "Thank you for the input, but does this thought, the thought of being terrified, actually help me? Does it make me perform better? Does it make me more clear, more focused? Or does it harm me?" If the thought does not serve your purpose, you have the right to dismiss it. You can say, "This is not a useful thought. I am discarding it. This is how you disarm the voice. You do not fight it. You do not feed it with your anger. You meet it with calm, curious, and surgical logic. You expose it as an exaggeration, an echo, and a useless piece of advice. It is no longer a terrifying monster. It is a predictable, boring, and ultimately powerless old machine, grinding away in the corner. You can hear it, but you no longer obey it. Step 3. Replace. The construction. This is the final and most crucial step. You have created a void. You have identified the saboteur, you have disarmed it, but you cannot leave that space empty. If you do, the old voice will simply creep back in. You must now, with deliberate, conscious intent, install a new script. This is the constructed script. This is your voice, the voice of your highest self, the voice of the anchor. This script must be built. It is not automatic. It must be written, practiced, and installed. How? You will not use positive thinking. You will use evidence-based affirmations. A weak affirmation is, "I am a millionaire." If you are not, your brain rejects this as a lie. It creates more conflict. A strong affirmation is, "I am a person who is taking deliberate, daily actions to build my financial independence. I am learning. I am working. I am disciplined." See the difference? It is based on fact. It is based on effort, your circle of control. You must write your own scripts. The old script for fear is, "This is a threat. Run." The new constructed script is, "This is a challenge. This is an opportunity to practice my training. My heart is beating fast? Good. That is my body preparing me for high performance." Chapter 4. The old script for failure is, "This is the end. You are worthless." The new constructed script is, "This is data. This is tuition. What is the one lesson I can take from this? I am not a failure. I am a learner." The old script for criticism is, "This is an attack. I am diminished." The new constructed script is, "That person is in their storm. I am in my anchor. I will listen for any data. I will discard the rest. My worth is not in their hands." This is the work. This is the real war. It is not fought with fists. It is fought with words. It is fought in the silent internal spaces of your own mind. You must become the guardian at the gate of your own head. You are no longer a passive audience for a monologue of abuse. You are the author, the editor, and the narrator of a new story. The quality of your life is not determined by the events that happen to you. It is determined by the conversation you choose to have with yourself about those events. The old voice will not die. It will not vanish completely. It will be there, in the background, a reminder of your old programming. But it will have no power. Because your voice, the one you are building today, the one that is anchored, rational, and strong, will be louder. You will become your own greatest ally. You will become your own coach. You will finally become the master of your own mind. Chapter 8. Navigating the Human Storm. You can sit in a quiet room and find your center. You can tame your own internal monologue. You can breathe, you can pause, you can anchor, and you can feel a profound sense of power. And then you have to go to work. And then you have to go home to your family. And then you have to interact with other people. If your own mind is a storm, other people are a hurricane. They are the single most unpredictable, chaotic, and destabilizing force in your life. They do not follow your rules. They do not share your goals. They are operating from their own internal script, their own hijack, their own fears, and their own illusion of control. And they are constantly, relentlessly colliding with you. A difficult coworker, an angry customer, a critical relative, a demanding partner. These are not theoretical problems. This is the real training ground. This is where your calm is tested. It is easy to be a saint on a mountaintop. The real work is to be a saint in a crowded room. The human storm is so difficult because it strikes at the very root of your biology. We are social creatures. We are hardwired to react to the tribe. The disapproval of another human to our ancient brain does not feel like an opinion. It feels like a threat to survival. A look of contempt, a raised voice, the threat of rejection. These are the exact triggers the amygdala is designed to detect. This is why, in a conflict, you are hijacked, Chapter 2, in a nanosecond. This is why you say things you do not mean, why you go into defensive mode, why you feel your anchor, Chapter 3, ripped away as you are pulled into their storm. You have allowed their emotional state to dictate yours. You have, once again, stepped into the illusion of control, Chapter 1, by believing your peace depends on them being calm. You have lost the war because you are fighting on their terms. We are now going to change the terms of engagement. This chapter is a manual for becoming unshakable in the face of the human storm. We will learn how to stand in the center of conflict and remain in your circle of control. We will master 3 principles. First, we will use empathy as a shield. Second, we will use detachment as a tool. Third, we will use boundaries as a line. Number 1. Strategic empathy, the shield. The first and greatest mistake we make in a conflict is to take it personally. The other person is yelling, criticizing, or attacking, and we believe it is about us. Our defenses go up, our amygdala fires, and the battle begins. We must change this frame instantly. We will deploy strategic empathy. This is not sympathy. Sympathy is when you feel with them. You get in the mud with them. You get pulled into their storm. That is weakness. Empathy is when you understand them. It is an intellectual, cognitive act. It is not an emotional one. Strategic empathy is the practice of asking one silent question in the middle of a conflict. What storm are they in right now? The person yelling at you is not, in that moment, a rational adult. They are a broadcast station for an unmet need, an unmanaged fear, or a deep-seated insecurity. You must become the doctor, and they are the patient presenting symptoms. You would not get angry at a patient for having a symptom. You would observe it, diagnose it, and try to understand its source. The angry boss? His symptom is rage, but the source might be his own fear of failure before his superiors. The critical relative? Her symptom is judgment, but the source might be her own deep-seated regret. The defensive coworker? His symptom is obstruction, but the source might be his terror of looking incompetent. When you practice strategic empathy, you are activating your prefrontal cortex. You are moving from a state of emotional reaction to a state of cognitive analysis. And a magical thing happens. Their words lose their power. The insult, the criticism, the anger. It is no longer about you. It is not a spear aimed at your heart. It is a signal flare showing you where they are broken. You have not been attacked. You have just been given data. This is your shield. By using your higher brain to understand their lower brain, you protect your own anchor. You are no longer part of the drama. You are the observer of it. No 3. Interested detachment, the tool. Now that you are shielded, you can act. Your old reactive self had 2 options: fight back, aggression, or give in, submission. Both are forms of hijack. The new you, the anchored you, has a new tool: interested detachment. Interested detachment is the active expression of your silent second, Chapter 6. It is the opposite of a defensive reaction. A defensive reaction is hot, fast, and proves you have been hooked. I did not do that. You have no right to say that. Interested detachment is cool. It is slow. It is curious. It is the act of engaging the other person not on their emotional level, but on a purely rational level. It sounds like this. Help me understand what you mean by that. I'm hearing that you are frustrated. Tell me more about the outcome you're looking for. That's an interesting perspective. Why do you believe that is the case? Do you see the power in this? You are disarming them. A person who is in their storm is expecting a fight. They are braced for your defensiveness. It is the fuel they need. When you meet their hot aggression with your cool curiosity, you starve their fire. They have no one to fight. They have, in fact, been invited to think, which is the one thing their hijacked brain cannot do. More importantly, this tool keeps you in your anchor. You cannot, at the same time, be curiously inquiring and defensively reacting. The two are mutually exclusive. You are, by using this tool, forcing yourself to stay in your prefrontal cortex. You are gathering data. You are clarifying. You are directing. You are not the actor in the scene. You are the interviewer. This is the ultimate response. It is calm, it is strong, and it is completely, utterly in your control. You are not reacting to the human storm. You are navigating it on your own terms. No 3. Boundaries without aggression. The line. Sometimes, however, the storm is too violent. No amount of empathy or detachment can stop a person who is truly committed to being abusive, destructive, or manipulative. This is where we must draw the line. This is the third and most critical principle, boundaries. But we must redefine what a boundary is. A boundary is not a request for the other person to change. A boundary is not, "You must stop yelling at me." That is a plea. It is a form of control, and it puts your power in their hands. If they keep yelling, your boundary has failed, and you are still a victim. A true boundary is not about them. It is 100% about you. It is a calm, non-negotiable declaration of what you will do, what you will accept, and where your line is. It is the ultimate expression of your circle of control. A weak boundary is, "You need to calm down." A strong boundary is, "I am not willing to be spoken to this way." A weak boundary is, "Can you please stop?" A strong boundary is, "I can see you're upset. I am going to leave the room for 10 minutes to give us both space to calm down. We can talk after that." Do you feel the shift? One is a request. The other is a declaration. One is a hope. The other is a decision. A true boundary must be delivered from the anchor. It cannot be delivered with aggression. If you yell your boundary, "I'm done, get out," you have lost. You have been hijacked. Your boundary is just your side of the fight. A true boundary is delivered with the calm, steady, and quiet authority of the lighthouse in Chapter 3. It is not hot. It is not emotional. It is firm. It is the sound of a door clicking shut, not a door being slammed. This is the final defense of your internal peace. You are not responsible for the other person's storm. You are responsible for not letting it sink your ship. The takeaway. These are the tools of the human storm. You will practice them. You will fail. You will get hijacked. You will find yourself in an old, stupid argument, and, halfway through, remember what you were supposed to do. This is not a failure. This is training. The director, Chapter 6, showed up. Next time, he will show up sooner. Your goal is not to win every fight. Your goal is not to control other people. Your goal is to protect your anchor. Your goal is to get through the interaction with your own peace, your own dignity, and your own self-respect intact. Use empathy as your shield to see the truth behind the attack. Use detachment as your tool to disarm the aggression. Use boundaries as your line to protect your core. This is how you master the chaos of others without losing the calm within yourself. You become the eye of the storm. You are the one who does not move. And in a world of reactive, chaotic people, the one who is still is the one who has all the power. Understood. We now move to the final stage of mastery, integration. This chapter is about moving from practicing the techniques to becoming the result. Chapter 9, Building the Inner Citadel. We have, to this point, been in the forge. We have been in the training ground. We have gathered the tools. We have learned the techniques. We have practiced the drills. You have learned how to anchor yourself. You have learned how to reframe your thoughts, how to command your body, how to create the silent second, how to rewrite your internal script, and how to navigate the human storm. You are now in possession of a powerful, sophisticated toolkit for managing chaos. You become the eye of the storm. You are the one who does not move. And in a world of reactive, chaotic people, the one who is still is the one who has all the power. Understood. We now move to the final stage of mastery, integration. This chapter is about moving from practicing the techniques to becoming the result. Chapter 9, Building the Inner Citadel. We have, to this point, been in the forge. We have been in the training ground. We have gathered the tools. We have learned the techniques. We have practiced the drills. You have learned how to anchor yourself. You have learned how to reframe your thoughts, how to command your body, how to create the silent second, how to rewrite your internal script, and how to navigate the human storm. You are now in possession of a powerful, sophisticated toolkit for managing chaos. But this is not the final destination. Tools are heavy. Tools require you to remember to use them. A life spent constantly remembering to be calm, constantly trying to manage your reactions, is still a life of effort. It is still a life defined by the threat of the storm. You have learned how to survive the storm. Now we must learn how to transcend it. The final stage of this journey is not about using the tools. It is about becoming the person who no longer needs them. It is about integrating these practices so deeply into your being that they are no longer techniques you apply, but are simply who you are. The goal is not to have a strong defense against the storm. The goal is to become so structurally sound that the storm is no longer a relevant threat. This is the work of building the inner citadel. A citadel is not a temporary shelter. It is not a tent you pitch in the rain. It is a fortress. It is a permanent structure of stone and steel built on bedrock. Its walls are thick. Its foundations are deep. It is built for 100-year siege. It is not worried about the weather. It is designed for it. This is the new mind we are building. This is the new identity we are forging. An identity where calm is not an effort, but a default. Where composure is not a tactic, but a reflex. Where your anchor is not something you find, but something you are. How do we build this? A citadel is not built in a day. It is not built with a single grand inspiration. It is built brick by brick. It is built through the slow, patient, and non-negotiable application of daily practice. The work from this point forward is about moving from inspiration to infrastructure. Your new identity is forged in two ways. First, through the architecture of routine. Second, through the principle of anti-fragility. Let us begin with the architecture. Your old self, the reactive one, was the product of accidental habits. Hitting snooze, checking your phone first thing, reacting to every notification, living in a state of constant low-grade distraction and anxiety. These small daily failures built the identity of a person who was not in control. You will now build a new identity through intentional habits. Your inner citadel is built in the first 30 minutes of your day. It is built in the small, quiet moments that you reclaim for yourself. What does this look like? It means that you, not the world, not your email, not the news, get the first word of your day. Your morning can no longer be an accident. When you wake, you will practice your training before the storm even arrives. You will spend just 5 minutes on maintenance. In these 5 minutes, you will anchor yourself. You will sit and you will perform your command breathing, Chapter 5. Not because you are in a panic, but because you are tuning the instrument. You are reminding your body, in a state of calm, what calm feels like. In these 5 minutes, you will prime your perspective. You will look at the day ahead and you will preemptively reframe it. You will not see a list of threats. You will see a list of challenges. I do not have to go to that meeting. I get to go to that meeting and practice my interested detachment. Chapter 4, Chapter 8. In these 5 minutes, you will install your script. You will consciously, deliberately review the constructed script you built in Chapter 7. You will remind yourself, I am a person who is anchored. My worth is not in their hands. I will look for the lesson. I am in my circle of control. This is not a grand gesture. This is the simple, unglamorous, brick-by-brick work. But what have you done? Before your feet have even hit the floor, you have already activated your prefrontal cortex. You have rehearsed your anchor. You have set your own terms for the day. The person who does this versus the person who wakes up and scrolls through the chaos of other people's opinions is living in a different universe. You are no longer reacting to the day. You are setting the weather for your own mind. This routine is the daily construction of your citadel. But a fortress that is never tested is just a monument. It is fragile. This brings us to the second and most profound principle: anti-fragility. There is a difference between being robust and being anti-fragile. Something that is robust or resilient survives the storm. It is hit, it withstands the impact, and it remains the same. A stone wall is resilient. Something that is anti-fragile is entirely different. It is hit by the storm and it grows stronger. It feeds on chaos. It uses stress as a catalyst for growth. A muscle is anti-fragile. You stress it with a heavy weight, you tear its fibers, and it heals back stronger than before. Your immune system is anti-fragile. It is exposed to a threat and it learns, building a permanent defense that makes it more capable. This is the mindset of the inner citadel. You must stop seeing the storms of your life as threats to your peace. You must instead begin to see them as opportunities for training. This is the ultimate perspective forge. You are no longer just surviving the storm, you are using it. Every time you are in a stressful situation, you must stop seeing it as a problem and start seeing it as a gym. The difficult colleague is not a threat to your day. They are a free advanced level lesson in navigating the human storm. Chapter 8. They are your training partner, helping you perfect your interested detachment. A sudden, unexpected failure is not a disaster. It is a high-intensity workout for your threat-to-challenge conversion, Chapter 4. It is a chance to build the muscle of your new internal script, Chapter 7. The traffic jam that makes you late is not a crisis. It is a pop quiz, a stress test. Can you, in this moment of low-level chaos, find your anchor? Can you deploy your command breathing? Or do you still default to the old program? When you make this shift, everything changes. You stop dreading chaos. You start welcoming it. Not because you are a masochist, but because you are an architect. You know that stress is the raw material. Stress is the weight that builds the muscle. Chaos is the pressure that tempers the steel. This is the identity. An anchored person who lives in the circle of control, Chapter 1, does not hope for an easy life. That is an external wish. They hope for strength. That is an internal goal. They do not pray for smaller storms. They train for a stronger ship. This is who you are now. You are a builder. You are a practitioner. You are an architect of the self. Your new identity is not a calm person. It is a resilient person. It is an anti-fragile person. It is a person who has done the work, the hard, unglamorous, daily work of building an internal structure so solid, so deep, and so sound that when the winds and the waves inevitably come, they find you ready. They find you anchored in your citadel. And they find that the very force they intended to destroy you with is the exact same force you are using to build yourself, brick by brick, stronger and stronger, day after day. The storm has, in effect, become your servant. This is integration. This is mastery. This is not a set of tools you use. This is the person you are. Understood? We have reached the final chapter. This is the culmination of the training, the vision of mastery. Chapter 10. The still point of the turning world. There is a concept, ancient and profound, that describes the center of all motion. It is the still point of the turning world. It is the hub of the wheel, which is motionless, yet from which all spin, all speed, all forward momentum originates. It is the eye of the hurricane, a place of perfect, paradoxical calm, while all around it a universe of chaos rages. This is not a place. It is not a destination. It is a state of being. It is a state you have been training chapter by chapter to inhabit. For your entire life, you have lived on the rim of the wheel. You have been the part that is thrown, frantic and fast, by the turning world. You have been defined by the motion. You have been a victim of the spin. When the world spun fast, you were dizzy with anxiety. When the world lurched, you were thrown into panic. When the world stopped, you were lost in depression. You believed you were the chaos. You mistook the turning for the truth. The entire journey of this audiobook, the entire purpose of this training has been to guide you back, to move you from the violent, reactive edge to the calm, powerful center, to the place where you are no longer pushed by the world, but from which you choose to move, to the still point. What does it feel like to live from this place? It is not a feeling of numbness. It is not a cold detachment. It is the opposite. It is a feeling of being, for the first time, fully alive. It is a state of profound engagement with reality. From the still point, the world does not stop. It clarifies. The noise that once deafened you is still there, but it is now just sound. It no longer has the power to hijack you. It is simply weather, and you are the one who is listening to it, stable and secure. From this center, your perception of everything changes. Let us start with time. Time, for the reactive mind, is an enemy. It is a tyrant. There is not enough of it. It is running out. You are late. You are behind. Your life has been a frantic, breathless race against a clock that is always, always winning. From the still point, this panic dissolves. When you are truly still, you are fully present. And in the profound, spacious depth of the present moment, you discover that time, as you knew it, was an illusion. It was a story told by your fear. When you are at your center, you are not worried about the next minute. You are not ruminating on the last one. You are inhabiting the only moment that has ever existed, now. In this one present second, there is no anxiety. There is no panic. There is simply the task. There is the conversation. There is the breath. You discover a spaciousness you never knew was possible. You are no longer rushed. You are focused. You are no longer behind. You are here. You find that you can accomplish more with less effort, because your mind is not split into 100 different warring pieces. Your energy is not leaking out into the past and the future. It is all here, whole, consolidated, and powerful. From this stills point, your decisions are transformed. The mind in the void, the mind on the rim of the wheel, is a mind in a state of paralysis. Indecision is the natural state of a chaotic brain. Every choice feels catastrophic. Every path is surrounded by the fog of what if. This is because you have been trying to think your way through a feeling. You have been trying to find a logical answer while your body is in a state of biological panic. From the still point, the fog lifts. Because you are calm, you are clear. You are able to, for the first time, separate the objective fact from the emotional fiction. You are no longer making decisions from a place of fear. What if I fail? You are no longer making them from a place of ego. What will they think? You are making them from a place of truth. You simply see what must be done. The right path is no longer an agonizing calculation. It is a quiet recognition. Your choices become simple, they become powerful. And you make them not with arrogance, but with a deep, unshakable conviction, because they are coming from the truest, most anchored part of yourself. From this still point, your focus becomes a superpower. The modern world is a war for your attention. Everything is designed to pull you from your center, to hook your amygdala, to make you react. The notifications, the headlines, the endless scroll. This is the turning world in its most distracting form. The reactive mind is a slave to this. It is a pinball bounced from one stimulus to the next, never resting, never creating, only consuming and reacting. From the still point, you become the source of your own attention. You are no longer a target for the world's distractions. You are a director of your own mental energy. You can choose, with deliberate intent, where to place the beam of your focus. You can read a book. You can do the deep work. You can listen, truly listen, to another human being, without your mind drafting a reply. This is the rarest skill in the world, the ability to be undistracted. From this calm center, you are not fighting distraction. You are simply immune to it. The noise is still there, but it cannot touch you. You are in a different dimension of consciousness. You are no longer the consumer. You are the creator. And perhaps most profoundly of all, from this still point, your relationships are reborn. In your old life, you were a reactor. You met the human storm with your own storm. You met anger with defense. You met criticism with shame. You met fear with aggression. Your relationships were a series of collisions, a battlefield of dueling hijacks. You were not connecting with people. You were managing your triggers in their presence. You were, in short, needing them. You needed their approval to be worthy. You needed their calm to be peaceful. You needed their validation to be whole. From the still point, all of this ends. You are whole before the conversation even begins. Your peace is yours. It is non-negotiable. It is not on the table. Your worth is yours. It is not up for discussion. And so, when you encounter another person, you are, for the first time, truly free. You are free to listen, really listen, because you are not listening for the threat. You are listening for the truth. You are free to see them, really see them, because you are not blinded by your own projections. You can see their storm. You can see their fear. You can use that strategic empathy we discussed, not as a tactic, but as a genuine state of compassion. You are no longer a mirror reflecting their chaos. You are no longer a sponge absorbing it. You have become a presence. Your calm becomes a service. Your stillness creates a space for others. In your presence, people feel safe. They feel seen. This is the heart of all charisma. This is the foundation of all true leadership. This is the essence of all real love. It is the quiet, unshakable, profound power of the person who is still while the world turns. The person who has done the work. The person who has come home to their own center. This is not a fantasy. This is a destination, and you have the map. You have the tools. You have done the training. This is the new baseline. But you must know this. The world will not stop turning. The storms will howl. This is not a happily ever after. This is not an end to the work. It is the beginning of a new life defined by the work. You will be tested. You will stumble. You will, at times, find yourself pulled back out to the rim. You will feel that old familiar spin of panic or anger. The difference is, you will no longer be lost. You will no longer identify with the chaos. You will feel it rise, and you will recognize it. You will see it with the calm detachment of the director, and you will say, "Ah, the storm, I remember this." And you will know exactly what to do. You will know how to breathe. You will know how to ground yourself. You will know how to reclaim the silent second. You will know how to rewrite the script. You will know how to find your way back to the center. The training is no longer a chore. It is your reflex. The inner citadel is not a place you visit. It is where you live. The journey was never about controlling the world. It was never about stopping the rain. It was about ending the illusion that you were ever separate from the power to choose. It was about reclaiming your own mind, your own body, and your own life. It was about finding that still point that has been inside you all along, buried beneath the noise, waiting patiently for you to return. You have done the work. You have faced the illusion. You have mapped the architecture. You have forged the tools. You have won the war within. You are the architect. You are the captain. You are the master. You are no longer the weather. You are the sky. You are not the wave. You are the deep ocean. You are the still point in the turning world. The storm is here. It will always be, but it does not matter, because for the first time in your life, you are ready. Now go and live from this place.